Good afternoon. You're watching Businessworld Live. I'm Delos Santos. Let's have a look at how the local bourse did today, Wednesday. Good things come in threes for local shares as stocks advance yet again for the third straight day. The PSEi joined a regional rally today and even outpaced Asian players after surging 1.8% to hit 6,680 over that 3 day period. The local bourse here already eked out a 5.7% gain. This comes as the current ECQ status in the capital is set to expire after Friday, and Metro Manila mayors are expected to come up with a recommendation later this afternoon. For Japheth Antianco of Philstocks Financials, there's a sense of hope that concessions will be given to the economy and restrictions will be eased to allow more commercial activity. But should curbs not be eased, Antianco warns the market faces more volatility and pullback, especially with volume remaining tepid. At least for today, though, majority of the 13-member index advance. Five blue chips here accounted for 85% of the gains in the main index. I'm referring to SM Investments here, gaining 4 and 0.2%. There's also Ayala Land with an increase of 3 and 0.7%. JG Summit, SM Prime, and Ayala Corporation all gaining at least 2% today on Wednesday. But it's Bloomberry, which is the day's best performer, jumping 5 and 0.7%. Now, outside the main index, you have Emperador jumping big, its highest in 8 years. That's after the liquor maker approved its secondary listing via the Singapore Exchange. Owner Alliance Global also joined in on the climb, rising 1 and 0.2%. But as you can see, Emperador here increasing by 12.8% to 16 pesos a piece. Now, also increasing today is Megawide. Not only has the construction company raked in higher revenues for the first half of the year, they're also remaining bullish on subway and commuter rail projects here in the Philippines. You have first half figures here, net income coming in at 353 million pesos for the first 6 months of the year. Compare that to the net loss of 303 million pesos from last year. Consolidated revenues also higher by 18% to 7.6 billion pesos. That revenue supported by strong construction performance, which saw revenue increase by 43%. They are remaining bullish for future projects here. They have already submitted bids for the Metro Manila Subway project via a partnership with Tokyo Construction and Tobishima Construction from Japan. There's also the North-South Commuter Rail South Line. They're also evaluating electro and mechanical track works for the Malolos, Clark, and Solis Calamba of the North-South Commuter Rail Alignment MY today, as you can see right here, gaining 1 and 0.8% to 6 pesos and 18 centavos a piece. And very quickly now, some IPO news. AllDay Marts of the Villares is targeting to raise 5.5 billion pesos through an IPO. So that involves the selling of 6.86 billion primary common shares with over allotment option of 685.7 million shares to be sold via all value through a secondary offer. Offer price is set at 80 centavos. Each proceeds will be used for debt repayment, capital expenditures, and working capital to expand their store network. Speaking of debts, they are seeking to retire at least 4.1 billion pesos of debts that they used to actually fund store expansions. The repayment of debts is expected to at least cut their financing cost by as much as 264.4 million pesos a year. Store network for AllDay is currently at 33. The goal is to come up with 45 stores by 2022 and 100 stores by 2026. Now, off to some national news here. The government is now calling on all LGUs to submit their list of vaccinated residents ahead of the target launch of a vaccine portal next month. The Foreign Affairs Department says it's working closely with other countries to make sure that the portal will be recognized internationally. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to this story.
By September, those fully vaccinated can begin applying for digital vaccine certificates issued by the national government. The portal and mobile app will be called VaxCert-PH and follows WHO standards for uniform vaccine cards.
Inaasahan po natin dahil itong VaxCert-PH ay in-issue ng isang opisina, itatanggapin po ito ng iba't ibang mga foreign governments.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT and the Bureau of Quarantine are the lead agencies working on it. They were initially working towards an early August launch. The certificates will come with a QR code that can be scanned wherever people need to show proof of vaccination. Roque says it can also be used for international travel.
Ibig sabihin po, pwedeng gamitin doon sa iba't ibang mga apps na ginagamit po ngayon para masiguro yung pagpabakuna.
The Labor Department said more than 3,000 Hong Kong-bound OFWs were stranded because Hong Kong refused to recognize their LGU-issued vaccination cards.
Ang gusto kasi ng Hong Kong ay uniform. We are requesting them to allow the Bureau of Quarantine to come up with certificate. Pero wala pang positive response from them.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion says he was also told that the certificates would be ready in a month.
I've received my confirmation from DICT with the QR code, and I'm told that this will soon be operational to the public in the next 30 days.
DICT Secretary Gringo Honasan also appealed to LGUs who haven't done so to submit their line lists or their lists of residents who have been fully immunized. The Department of Foreign Affairs has promised to work with other countries to make sure the VaxCert-PH is recognized internationally. In the meantime, the government says Filipinos who need to go abroad urgently may apply for the so-called yellow cards from the BOQ. I'm Pamela Vasquez and we are One News.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. More companies are taking interest in vaccine manufacturing in the country. Trade Secretary Mon Lopez tells One News's agenda that 8 companies are looking to put up vaccine manufacturing sites in the Philippines, 2 of which are already in advanced talks. Lopez says COVID vaccines produced locally would have to have emergency use authorization by the Philippine FDA. But all in all, he says the companies are looking to manufacture a wide range of vaccines, not just for COVID-19, in order to appeal to a larger market. Lopez urged more companies to venture into vaccine manufacturing in order to help deliver more supply worldwide. Now, no formal announcement yet on the fate of ECQ areas after August 20, but a National Task Force advisor believes NCR could be downgraded to MECQ by then. NTF Special Advisor Dr. Ted Eroposa says this is doable along with stringent localized lockdowns in high-risk areas. Eroposa agrees that it will take more than a week to feel the effect of the enhanced community quarantine. Economic managers, meanwhile, are set to meet today to review growth targets after 3 imposed lockdowns in Metro Manila and other areas. The group kept its growth target of 6 to 7% last July, basing off eased restrictions and ramped up vaccination efforts. NEDA recently projected some 300 billion pesos in losses and more than 400,000 jobs lost under the 2-week ECQ in NCR. After agricultural output declined by 1.5% in the second quarter, is a sector once deemed as an economic bright spot already feeling the pinch of the crisis. Let's discuss more of that with Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Good afternoon, ASIC Reyes.
Good afternoon, Jess, and good afternoon to our televiewers.
Okay, so this time around, basing it off from that figure, you have output slipping by 1.5%. From the 0.5% growth that was posted from a year ago, with livestock production posting a notable 19% drop. Does this mean that the African swine fever crisis is still far from over?
Yes, it is. It is. But the incidence is waning, Jess. We only have about 29 barangays affected all over the country, and there are about 460 plus areas that there were no reports of ASF incidents in the last 3 months. So it's waning. is decreasing, and we hope to recover early next year. So that's our prognosis. So again, we're counting on our ASF, Bantay ASF sa barangay in partnership with the LGUs, private sector, and the hog raisers themselves. And also we're counting on our hog repopulation program in partnership with several big commercial farms and uh, financial institutions. So Land Bank is putting in 30 billion, Development Bank of the Philippines is putting in another 12 billion, and our own Agricultural Credit and Policy Council putting in recently a total of 800 million, 500 for the original amount for hog racers, backyard hog racers here in Luzon, and 300. No? Just today, the secretary announced that the ACPC will be allotting 300 million for backyard racers in green zone areas or ASF-free areas in Visayas and Mindanao.
All right, just to be clear, you mentioned only 29 barangays are still reporting ASF cases. This is from a high of how much? Of how many rather?
Over 100
Now,
during the height of ASF last year.
okay, you mentioned cases are waning. How is that at least affecting current prices of pork? Are we seeing?
Yes. Pork prices of fresh pork is now going down to about 320 to 360. That's for fresh pork, and for frozen, as we allow the entry of more imported pork, prices are ranging from 220 to 260 for Kasim, and about 320, about 260 for Liempo. So again, prices are going down for both frozen and fresh.
Okay, the DA has already lowered its expectations by setting a 2% growth for the year instead of the earlier projection of 2.5%. But with the performance in Q2, are you at least revisiting your targets for the year?
Yeah, we're the Secretary William Dar has whittled it down to 2%. Just again because of the ECQ, community lockdowns, and again, we're looking forward to recovering more from the crop sector. As you may have heard, palay production has been is again in historic high for the first semester, totaling 8.8 million metric tons, and we're looking forward to achieving a high of at least 20 million metric tons this year, barring weather disturbances second half of the year.
Mm-hmm. Now, should restrictions continue or at least not be eased beyond August 20, not just in Metro Manila, but even in nearby provinces, how is that going to affect the production activity of the agricultural sector?
Not much, Jess, but again, the rainy season and the southwest monsoon or Habagat, both are affecting the supply. And of course, the prices of vegetables particularly. So again, we're encouraging our regional directors from other areas of the country, particularly in Luzon, in Bicol, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Region 3, Region 2, Cagayan, Ilocos Sur, and of course, Cordillera, to bring in their excess vegetable production into Metro Manila. To, again, to moderate the supply, of course, and the prices.
Okay, the last time we talked, you did mention that you have a quick response plan for farmers, and I think even fisher folk to be rolled out sometime October to December as additional ayuda as well. How's that coming along?
Yes, we're preparing the guidelines, so we're ready to roll out 7.6 billion pesos worth of ayuda, no? That's rice farmers financial assistance under the excess tariff collections of the Bureau of Customs from 2019 to 2020. This will be given to about 1.5 million rice farmers tilling 2 hectares and below, and they'll be given 5,000 pesos cash starting October 2021. So this is in addition to the previous ayuda we have given under Bayanihan 2, totaling to 4.5 billion, was distributed to 886,000 farmers tilling, again, 2 hectares and below.
Mhm.
And also non-cash, meaning for a combination of cash and 3,000 cash and 2,000 in the form of rice, chicken, eggs. And earlier, we also have given about close to 1 billion under Rice Farmers Financial Assistance Program in 2019, under the 2019 GAA, and another under Bayaningan 1, given as financial subsidy for rice farmers last year, given to in total about close to 1 billion rice farmers.
Okay, now lastly, and very quickly now, ask Reyes, I do recall the NEDA recommending for high volume fish importation during a closed fishing season. So that's going to run from October to March. How might this affect the local fish market when holiday season also is seeing high demand even for fish?
That's needed, Jess. That's a policy decision because of the closed fishing season. So we'll have to increase the supply via importation of galunggong and other fishes. No? So again, we'd like to stabilize the supply and again moderate the prices towards the Christmas season.
All right, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Again, Agriculture Assistant Secretary Asik Noel Reyes. Thank you, sir.
Likewise, thank you, Jess. And on behalf of Secretary William Dar, Department of Agriculture, good afternoon.
And those are the biggest stories this trading day, August 18, 2021. Catch Business World Live again tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jess Delos Santos. We are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.